I was angry that they dared to even place this in the hands of my 5-year-old son.
I never thought that my rights as a parent would be taken away from me.
They thought it was such an egregious situation, they did an emergency removal of this boy.
The heartbreak of moms and dads around the country is becoming universal.
Community groups have rallied on behalf of the family, saying parents should decide their children's medical treatment.
It's a parent's duty to control and direct the upbringing of their child.
If American parents knew, they would be horrified.
Objection overruled.
Parents across America are losing their parental rights. These aren't abusive or neglectful parents, but parents who love and protect their children. So why are good parents losing their rights?
The vast majority of parents and adults in general think that the normal, traditional rules of parents' rights are still in place, that parents get to make decisions for their children in areas of education, their upbringing, medical care, the whole gamut of parental decision-making.
The vast majority of Americans believe that moms and dads should be able to parent as they see fit. But what they don't understand is there's no legal right that allows them to do so.
The Supreme Court of the United States, throughout the history of the nation, has always treated that right of a parent to raise their child as what we call in the law fundamental.
When I realize and learn that something that I thought was a fundamental right is not a fundamental right, that is deeply troubling. When we surveyed last year in a Zogby poll over 2,000 people, over 90% of Americans agree with the definition of traditional parental rights, which is that we have the right to direct the upbringing and education of our children as we see fit.
93% of Americans really thought that that was a good idea politically. They're going to be surprised to learn what the courts are actually doing.
For the first time in American history, a majority of the Supreme Court no longer treats the parent's right to control and direct the upbringing of their child as a fundamental liberty.
The problem with explaining parents' rights to a person as compared to free speech rights, free speech, you say, go look in the First Amendment, there it is. But for parents' rights, there's no place to go look. You have to go read a bunch of Supreme Court decisions to see how they found it, what they've done to it in the meantime, and it's an evolving standard. That's the problem.
There are people each and every day who are scheming to take away parental rights to start to destroy the family structure.
We now have a new situation where government itself becomes the standard, and who's ever in power gets to say what your liberty is.
Without actual constitutional text, our basic parental rights can be completely written off in the hands of the wrong people, as you'll see in the following true stories.
I was sitting in my office in Nashville, and I got a call from a constituent named Sid Dartery. He was so mad, so aggravated, that he could hardly speak. He had taken his son to a physician because he was concerned about some medical issue relative to his son.
All right, Zach, I'm going to need you to take a couple of big breaths for me. Okay, nice and deep.
My son, he was just in a daze. We took him back to the doctor and I voiced concerns that maybe it was too much medication.
I just don't know, Doc. He complained about his head spinning, and the next thing I know, he's passed out on the floor.
Do you have any pain anywhere at all? Just here.
I'm an average father. I love my family. I love my wife. I love my children. I never thought that my rights as a parent would be taken away from me.
As a dad, I can relate to Sid. He simply wanted to know what was going on with his son.
He had been taking different medications. We were concerned that he was being over-medicated.
You know, Doc, he didn't start passing out until you upped the dosage on those medications you put him on.
I'm afraid this appears to be something else.
The doctor, during the course of the examination, decided that he should go ahead and drug test him because some of the symptoms they saw were suggestive of possible drug use.
And he asked about doing a drug screen, and I said, yeah, that'll be fine.
I suggest you do a drug screen just to be sure.
I'm okay with that.
And he said, oh, by the way, I cannot get the medical records to my son without his permission because the law says so.
He has to give us permission for those results?
Children are entitled to medical privacy. We cannot release children's medical results to parents.
The doctor, quoting federal law, made it very clear that he could not release the results of the drug test to the parents.
You're saying
No, wait a minute.
I'm only following protocol.
I have to ask my 13-year-old for permission.
I'm just following federal guidelines. This is his right.
We're his parents. What about our rights?
We have the right to know if our son's health is in danger. Come on, son.
Let's go, Zach.
We're only following federal guidelines, Mrs. Doherty.
How could somebody tell me that the law says that a parent cannot get medical records of their minor child?
We paid for those drug tests.
It's not right. It's outrageous. It's offensive to think that that would go on.
Federal guidelines. That's not right.
Absolutely unreasonable. These
You
are
are
federal
being
guidelines that
unreasonable.
I have to obey.
You don't talk to him, doctor. You talk to me. And we, his mother and I, want those lab results.
I can't do that. The only way I can release that information is if your son gives me permission. It's the law.
Then the law is wrong, doctor.
There are people in America that would say this is just an isolated case. However, the physician was quoting federal law.
Sid Daughtry's case is not just an isolated story. It's happening in America every day, all around the country.
One thing that very much concerns me is the subtle way in which parental rights are being eroded.
What's amazing to me is the parents that I talk to just don't seem to believe that our country could be infringing upon the rights of families and parents as much as they are.